In the world of the young and the restless, betrayal, revenge, and power plays have always been at the core of many of its most gripping plotlines. One such storyline takes center stage as Phyllis Summers, who has recently faced a crushing blow to her professional life, vows to destroy Billy Abbott. With emotions running high, Phyllis finds herself at a crossroads, trying to figure out just how far she's willing to go to exact her revenge. Her fury burns bright, and the consequences of her next moves will reverberate throughout Genoa City. What happens when Phyllis's vendetta spirals out of control, and what tactics will she employ to bring Billy and Abbott Communications to its knees? This is the story of Phyllis's darkest hour and her quest for retribution. The fallout of being fired. Phyllis Summers, never one to back down, finds herself at the height of her rage and frustration after being unceremoniously fired from Abbott Communications. The company that once felt like her home, her empire, had turned its back on her. The bitter sting of betrayal runs deep. For Phyllis, losing her job wasn't just a professional setback, it was a personal affront. She had always prided herself on her ability to fight for what was hers, and now, with her reputation tarnished, she finds herself alone, vulnerable, and enraged. She can't help but feel that Billy Abbott was the one behind her downfall. His actions, his decisions, led to her being cast out. The man who had always stood as a symbol of the Abbott family's resilience now became the symbol of everything that Phyllis loathed. She can't bear the idea of him sitting comfortably at the top while she's been discarded like a piece of trash. In Phyllis's mind, he must pay for what he's done. But this isn't just about a personal vendetta, this is about survival. Phyllis is a woman who thrives on power, control, and success. Her need for those things is driving her forward, and Billy Abbott, unwittingly, is the target of her fury. The shocking replacement. The plot thickens when Phyllis discovers that her position at Abbott Communications has been filled by none other than Sally Spectra. This revelation is like a punch to the gut. Sally, the one person Phyllis has never respected, is now taking over the very role that Phyllis once owned. It is more than just the sting of losing her job, it's the humiliation of seeing someone like Sally rise while she has fallen. Phyllis is seething with jealousy and rage. How could someone like Sally, who Phyllis views as weak and inexperienced, usurp her place? The thought of Sally sitting in her office, taking credit for everything Phyllis built, is too much to bear. In this moment of anger, Phyllis realizes just how much power she still holds in this world. She has the intelligence, the cunning, and the resources to destroy Billy Abbott. She may have been thrown out of Abbott Communications, but she's far from defeated. The question now is how she will channel her fury and bitterness into action. A dangerous alliance. Though Phyllis is no fan of the Newman family, desperation knows no bounds. As her rage festers, she hatches a plan to connect with the Newmans, knowing full well that Victor and Adam can be valuable allies in her pursuit of revenge. She may not like them, but they hold the power she needs to exact her revenge on Billy. Victor, in particular, is a man who has never hesitated to use his influence for his own gain. Phyllis knows that if she can gain his trust, she can get what she wants. And what she wants most is Billy Abbott's downfall. Phyllis's proposition is simple. She offers them insider information on Abbott Communications in exchange for a job. Information is a powerful commodity, and Phyllis is well aware that she has a wealth of secrets and intelligence that could bring Billy to his knees. She knows how to manipulate, how to extract valuable intel, and she's willing to leverage all of it in her quest for revenge. Victor, ever the strategist, sees potential in Phyllis's offer. He knows that Billy Abbott has been a thorn in the side of the Newman family for years, and Phyllis's grudge against him presents an opportunity. If he can use Phyllis to bring Billy down, it would be a win for the Newmans. Adam, ever the pragmatist, also sees the value in Phyllis's proposal, and though he may not fully trust her, he understands that sometimes working with the enemy is necessary to secure a win. A master plan unfolds with Phyllis on board. A new alliance begins to take shape. Together with Victor and Adam, Phyllis starts to craft a plan to sabotage Billy Abbott and take down Abbott Communications. The stakes are high, and Phyllis knows that this is her one shot at reclaiming her power. She must execute every move with precision. Phyllis begins by gathering information, using her insider knowledge of Abbott Communications to exploit any weaknesses. She focuses on Billy's personal life, knowing that it could be a source of vulnerability. Phyllis is well aware of the dynamics between Billy and his family, especially his relationship with Victoria. She knows that a few well-placed rumors or strategic revelations could destabilize the Abbott family's hold on their empire. She also knows that there's no love lost between Billy and Victor Newman, and she can use that to her advantage, driving a wedge between Billy and those around him. Phyllis begins planting the seeds of discord, feeding information to Victor and Adam, who in turn use their influence to spread it within the business community. Slowly, the tide begins to turn against Billy. His colleagues grow wary of his leadership, and the cracks in Abbott Communications start to widen. The tension builds as Phyllis, Victor, and Adam continue to pull the strings behind the scenes. The fallout as Phyllis's plan unfolds, Billy's life begins to unravel. The pressure mounts as Abbott Communications faces increasing scrutiny, and Billy's personal life begins to feel the strain. He's blindsided by the sudden downturn in his career, unaware that Phyllis, the woman he thought he had put behind him, is the one pulling the strings. His frustration grows as he tries to keep everything together, but the weight of Phyllis's revenge proves to be too much. With his empire under attack, Billy finds himself on the edge of collapse. In the end, Phyllis achieves what she set out to do. She takes down Billy Abbott, the man who humiliated her and stole everything she worked for. But as she stands victorious, she must ask herself whether it was worth it. Has she gained anything by destroying him, or has she merely become the very thing she despised? The bitterness of her revenge may give her momentary satisfaction, but it could also leave her with an emptiness that she can never fill. This is the price of Phyllis's revenge, a price that may ultimately cost her more than she ever expected. The battle for power, control, and redemption is far from over, and Phyllis Summers must now face the consequences of her own actions. Phyllis Summers has always been a force to be reckoned with in the world of the young and the restless. Her tenacity, intelligence, and unmatched charm have earned her both admiration and fear among those in Genoa City. Yet, even someone as formidable as Phyllis is not immune to the sting of betrayal. As the storyline progresses, Phyllis finds herself caught in the web of emotions that are both personal and professional, sparked by one simple but devastating revelation. Billy Abbott has replaced her with Sally Spectra. This shocking turn of events sets Phyllis on a path of vengeance, where her emotions run high, and her cunning mind begins to devise a plan not just to seek revenge on Billy, but to shatter the new relationship and business partnership between him and Sally. But this isn't merely about anger. It's about Phyllis trying to reclaim control over her life, her emotions, and her future. She will stop at nothing to destroy Sally's new life and potentially rekindle her own relationship with Billy, even if it means sacrificing her morals. The bitter sting of replacement Phyllis's world shatters when she finds out that Sally Spectra, a woman she has long viewed as a rival, is taking over the very position she once held at Abbott Communications. Phyllis is no stranger to loss, but this betrayal feels different. After all, she had always believed that she held a special place in Billy Abbott's heart. Their tumultuous history had seen its ups and downs, but Phyllis had always held out hope for a possible reunion. She had dreamt of rekindling their romance just before she was kidnapped, a last flicker of hope in a series of unfortunate events. The anger that courses through Phyllis when she discovers that Billy has chosen Sally over her is both searing and complicated. It's not just about losing her job. It's about losing Billy, someone she still harbors deep feelings for. The thought of Sally taking her place both in the office and in Billy's life makes Phyllis burn with jealousy and rage. She doesn't just want to get even, she wants to tear Sally's world apart while simultaneously rebuilding her own connection with Billy. And she believes she can do both. The plan. Divide and conquer. While Phyllis could easily lash out in a fit of rage, she's no stranger to the power of patience and calculation. Instead of immediately confronting Billy or Sally, she steps back and begins to formulate a more devious plan, one that could destroy both the love and the business partnership they share. This plan is clever, insidious, and perfectly suited to Phyllis's skills. She decides to use her allure, her charm, and her unrelenting drive to carefully manipulate the situation. Phyllis knows she has one distinct advantage: Billy doesn't hate her. In fact, despite their troubled past, he still holds a soft spot for her. Their connection, though fraught with complications, has never fully dissipated. Phyllis understands this, and it's what gives her the confidence to believe she can pull Billy back into her orbit. Her plan is twofold. First, to destroy the relationship between Sally and Billy, and second, to simultaneously ruin Sally's professional life. Phyllis believes that by doing both, she can kill two birds with one stone. She will tear Sally's world apart while simultaneously winning back Billy's heart, or at least his attention. Phase 1, Seduction and Manipulation. Phyllis isn't just a businesswoman, she's a woman who knows how to use her charm to her advantage. The power of attraction is not lost on her. She realizes that Billy's emotional ties to her have never been fully severed, and she knows how to exploit that vulnerability. With her typically seductive style, Phyllis will draw Billy in, carefully enticing him into a web of flirtation, suggestiveness, and emotional connection. She doesn't rush it. Instead, Phyllis takes her time, allowing Billy to come to her. They engage in late-night conversations, exchange flirtatious banter, and reignite the chemistry that has always simmered beneath the surface. Billy is captivated by Phyllis, and it isn't long before he begins to question his relationship with Sally. Phyllis knows just how to plant seeds of doubt in his mind, reminding him of the deep history they share, the passion they once had, and how they could pick up where they left off. She plays on his insecurities, drawing comparisons between Sally's youthful naivete and her own experienced sophistication. Phyllis's method is simple: let Billy remember what he had with her, and let him realize that he doesn't truly hate her. As she draws him closer, she makes sure to distance him from Sally, creating friction in their relationship. She casually introduces small doubts about Sally's intentions, planting the notion that Sally's rise at Abbott Communications may be built on opportunism rather than genuine talent. Phase 2, Destroying Sally's career. Phyllis knows that Sally is not only Billy's partner in love but also in business. If she wants to truly make a mark, she needs to shatter Sally's professional life just as much as her personal life. Phyllis understands the business world, especially Abbott Communications, and she knows how to use that knowledge to her advantage. By feeding Billy bits of information about Sally's past, she begins to undermine Sally's credibility. She strategically points out the gaps in Sally's skills, her previous mistakes, and how unprepared Sally is for the challenges of her new role. But Phyllis goes further. She begins to subtly influence people within the company, spreading rumors that Sally may not be up for the task ahead. Phyllis might not have the position she once had, but she still has connections and influence. Her ability to stir the pot in subtle ways is unmatched, and it doesn't take long for the cracks to start showing in Sally's leadership. Phyllis even goes as far as to start a whisper campaign within the business community. She reaches out to people who are loyal to the Abbotts, creating doubts about Sally's ability to lead the company. As the pressure mounts, Sally's confidence falters, and the strain in her relationship with Billy begins to grow. Every calculated move that Phyllis makes brings her one step closer to breaking Sally's spirit and pushing Billy back into her arms. Phase 3, The fallout. As Phyllis's plan takes effect, Billy begins to unravel. His relationship with Sally is strained, torn apart by Phyllis's calculated moves. Billy starts to question everything: his decisions, his future, and his feelings for both Sally and Phyllis. Phyllis plays the long game, keeping her distance when necessary and swooping in to comfort him during his moments of doubt. She becomes the sounding board he never knew he needed, reminding him of the love they once shared. But as things begin to unfold, Phyllis realizes something crucial. She may have gotten too caught up in the game. Her desire for revenge and control begins to cloud her judgment, and she starts to wonder if winning Billy back is worth the damage she's causing. As Sally's career falters and her relationship with Billy hits rock bottom, Phyllis starts to question if this is really what she wanted all along. Has she pushed too far? The final blow comes when Billy has to make a choice. Will he reconcile with Phyllis, the woman who still holds his heart, or will he stand by Sally, the woman who has always been his future? As the tension builds to a crescendo, Phyllis stands ready, prepared to watch it all unfold. But in the end, she realizes that revenge, no matter how sweet, often comes with a price, one that may cost her everything. The question remains, will Phyllis be able to have it all? Or will her desire for control destroy everything she's worked for? In a world of deceit, love, and power struggles, nothing is ever truly certain. Phyllis's revenge, the battle for control and power in the world of the young and the restless, there's no shortage of high-stakes drama, betrayal, and power struggles. For Phyllis Summers, one of Genoa City's most calculating and ambitious women, the twists and turns of life have always been her playground. However, as she faces an unexpected turn of events, one thing becomes clear. Phyllis isn't just looking to recover what she lost, she's aiming to destroy those who have wronged her, most notably Billy Abbott. Billy, the man who once held her heart and who she still believes has deep feelings for her, has replaced her at Abbott Communications with none other than Sally Spectra. This betrayal, as well as her professional downfall, has left Phyllis angry, humiliated, and determined to get her revenge. But can she find a way to strike at Billy where it will hurt the most? The question now becomes, how far will Phyllis go to tear down the man who has cost her everything, and what unexpected alliances and moves might she make along the way? Phyllis and Billy, the complicated dynamic. Despite the cold, calculating exterior Phyllis shows to the world, she's not immune to emotions, especially when it comes to Billy Abbott. Their past is filled with passion, conflict, and deep emotional connections. Although Phyllis has moved on from their previous entanglement, a part of her still holds on to the hope that they could one day reunite. Their relationship has always been volatile, but there's no denying the chemistry they share. When Billy offers Phyllis a chance to stay in the Abbott fold by offering her a job, it's an unexpected olive branch. He's aware of the position she's in, and despite their personal history, he feels sympathy for her downfall. However, Billy is also a man with principles, and he's not about to let Phyllis slide back into the company under false pretenses. There's something about the idea of Phyllis being in a position of power at Abbott Communications that doesn't sit right with him. The very notion of her being in control again makes him uneasy. Yet, he decides to offer her a new role, one that isn't quite at the helm but still within the company. It's a concession on his part, a compromise between what he feels is right and his lingering sympathy for Phyllis. However, Phyllis isn't one to play by anyone's rules, least of all Billy's. While she may accept this position, it's far from the end of her ambitions. For Phyllis, this job offer may be the first step toward greater control, but her true goal is far more complex. She intends to make Billy regret his decision, and she plans to do so by wreaking havoc from within. The game begins. Phyllis's plan to undermine Billy. Phyllis isn't foolish enough to believe that Billy will just hand her a position of power without strings attached. He may offer her a job, but it's clear he's doing so with one eye on her every move. The moment Phyllis steps into the world of Abbott Communications again, she knows she must play her cards carefully. She can't make an outright move to ruin Billy just yet. She needs to appear cooperative, calm, and collected, at least for now. But underneath her calm facade, a storm is brewing. With the position she's been given, Phyllis has an excellent opportunity to sabotage Billy's leadership from within. She isn't interested in being a mere puppet under Billy's rule. She wants to be in control again, and if she can manipulate the system enough, she will find a way to turn things in her favor. It doesn't matter how long it takes. Phyllis is patient, and patience is one of her greatest strengths. Phyllis begins by subtly influencing the people around her. She taps into the power dynamics within the company, whispering behind closed doors, creating division among the staff. If she can destabilize the internal workings of Abbott Communications, it will send a clear message to Billy that he can't just throw her aside without consequences. But that's not all. Phyllis knows that one of the most effective ways to hit Billy where it hurts is by targeting Sally Spectra. Sally, who is now Billy's professional and personal partner, represents everything Phyllis feels she's lost. The idea of Sally taking her place, both in business and in Billy's life, eats away at Phyllis. If she can tear Sally down, she might just be able to destroy the one thing Billy holds dear. Phyllis is no stranger to manipulation, and she's already plotting how she can use her position to undermine Sally's work and leadership. Phyllis knows that if she subtly interferes with Sally's role at Abbott Communications, she can create conflict between Billy and Sally. Billy is already under pressure, juggling his relationship with Sally, his role at Abbott, and his complicated past with Phyllis. If Phyllis can turn the company against Sally, or even just sow seeds of doubt, it will push Billy further into her orbit.